What's up guys, Peter von Panda here. I want to show you something I've just bought and I was intrigued by it. This is by Wartech. It is a machete slash sword. Do I need this? Well, I'm going on a hiking trip with a buddy of mine and he recommended that I bring along a machete. Not that we will need it, but he's like there are some areas of brush and apparently there's some sort of thorny prickly thing. I don't remember what the name of it is, but he's like it's going to be a lot easier to cut through it. What he recommended to me was a 28-inch carbon steel machete in case we need it, as well as they're good for kind of breaking up wood and cutting down large sticks, etc., etc. But I took his advice and I poo-pooed it, and I got something that looked cooler. And unfortunately, it may not do the job, but we're going to see how this one does. This is by Wartech, and they are considered swords, I guess, although they're listed as sword machete knives. And you can see there's two of them here, a 27-inch blade and a 20-inch blade, I believe. And they're Velcroed in here. They both are. So that holds them in. And then you can see what makes them unique is this blue blade. And it comes with a little plastic thing here, as I'm going to take off the plastic. But what was cool to me is that the blades themselves, the whole metal, a full metal Tang, is all blued. Now, you might be saying, well, Pete, how is it blued? I think it's hard to get accurate information on it, but I think it's enamel covered. It kind of feels like there is a painted coating. The blade edge itself is not that sharp. I mean, it's sharp. I'm only going to brush my finger that way. But as you can see, it looks like there's this enamelish coating all the way around, creating not so sharp of a blade right now. But I think as you cut something, you know, and I'm not saying it's not, but I wouldn't try slicing paper with it. But if it didn't have this enamel coating on it and you were just seeing like the 400 series stainless steel, it would probably be much sharper and it would probably look like stainless steel. I do like the bluing because, and I don't want to call it bluing like they do on a gun where they purposely corrode it in a controlled state to keep the metal from corroding. And here's the shorter blade. It does come with this kind of nice Cordura case. Both of them fit into the single case here. There's kind of this faux leather top piece, and then there is an adjustable, I don't know if it would be considered a shoulder strap. One of the weird things is that if you were to carry by the strap, it would kind of bend this down, or it would bend it down here more likely where it's no longer supported. So I'm not sure why they don't put another strap up here to kind of keep that straight the whole way, but it is what it is. But it seems to be pretty nicely done, fairly secure. You could even keep these little plastic caps if you wanted, I suppose. Although I feel like once you take the plastic off, you're not going to want to do that. But both blades are very, very similar in shape. They've got that kind of tanto-like edge, which is kind of katana style. There is a stop, a protector right here. The tip of the blade here is also sharpened, but it's not nearly as sharp as this edge. It's much more flat. I could run my finger happily up and down this edge. So it's just kind of, I don't know why, but it's, you know, for poking into things, supposedly, you know, you've got a kind of a sharp, thin edge on both sides for maybe splitting. Anyway, I just think they look cool, and there's some characters. And it says right there, the power of humanity is found in the Panda. I'm just kidding, I can't read that. But it's not a bad slogan to live your life by if you don't believe it. So, you know, they're not super thick. If you're familiar with the typical machete, they kind of have a much broader paddle. You know, there's probably twice as much metal up here. You know, carbon steel is going to kind of look black. The nice thing about carbon steel is you can use it on certain materials to create a spark. Stainless steel will not. And I think if you were to take a sharpener or stone and sharpen this edge, you'd get that shiny silver naked stainless steel coming out. And I don't know about this, like I said, this treatment or this lacquer, it seems like, that they put on there. If I whack something with this, like a branch, will a big piece of this chip off, or will this kind of corrode off? Absolutely it might, and that would be kind of my expectation. You can see here that the handle on this is kind of in the samurai sword style. There seems to be some padding underneath here, and then there is a single flat like nylon cord that's wrapped, twisted, and wrapped all the way around. So you get a little bit of that look. you know, in a true survival situation, you could probably unwrap that and use that as cordage. There's a hole here on the end so that you could put a lanyard or secure it. You know, the metal isn't super thick, you know, it's a few millimeters thick, probably carries out throughout the blade. Obviously the edge is much more thin. And then right here, Hero Edge, 440 stainless steel, made in China. There's your product number. So I just thought for, you know, under 30 bucks, you get 2 blades. Why not? Now the question is, does the thing work? So let's go ahead and try whacking it and see if I'm going to need to buy another machete or if I'm going to be able to make this thing work. Guys, so safety first. I'm going to hope I don't kill or injure myself, but we can see we've got big brush, and this is probably going to be pretty similar to what we're going to expect. So I'm just going to go ahead and take a couple swipes. Wow, this thing actually works pretty damn well. Well, it absolutely cuts it, and like I said, it's not a sharpened edge yet. So I guess in most cases, you know, for regular brush, you don't really need a super sharp edge. You're kind of the swing and the momentum of the knife is going to take it down. Not cutting real low here, just trying to see what it will do, but absolutely clears stuff away, that's for sure. Let's try it on something a little harder like wood and see if we can chip the edge there, or at least expose it and get rid of some of that enamel and see how that holds up. All right, guys, got a pretty big dead branch here. It's actually about as big around as the knife, the knife itself. So let's try to see what we can do here. I don't know if this is how well it's going to work, but oh, took it down pretty effectively. In terms of, and I wasn't being real that accurate because I was holding my camera, obviously. But I'm just trying to see if we can get a little wear on that. And I can see here, might be a little hard, but I can see we've kind of exposed that stainless steel underneath. And the edge actually feels sharper now that that enamel does not seem to be on it. So through wear, you are going to kind of get rid of that blued effect. Obviously, since I was hitting it up here, that's where it's gone, but it's remains everywhere else. But I'm pretty impressed that it actually didn't, I guess I wasn't digging that deep, but hasn't chipped off the sides. But again, my expectation is that if you really do use this, and it's not just a piece for display, you know, eventually you're going to wear all that off, and it might actually look a little weird because it's going to be silver in the places where it's taken abuse, and blue and everywhere else. But overall, I think it just looks pretty cool. And it seems to work. Peter from Panda for my Wartech machete sword. Out.